Cool. So what we're talking about is, do you want to stand over there?
Yes,
So it's not
I do.
So what we're talking about now, we just got to the home. We did commitment to agenda. We finished up with the, value the visit statement with, we're here with the understanding, plan to this right away. And now we're transitioning into commitment to need. And this is where you want to get the homeowner over to the window, right? This is, and we're talking about, just for the sake of setting this video up, we're talking about transitioning from selling Pentec to now promoting DCs into selling windows. So I've already talked about working on the methodology. The significant difference here is, with the Pentec methodology versus window methodology, specifically is commitment to need and commitment to action, which is a lot different here with windows and siding than it is with Pentec. So that's really what we're talking about here, and specifically talking about the start of commitment to need, which is the window inspection. Okay. Now it's crucial here, as you see in the methodology, that when we're starting this process, we're not selling anything. We're not selling us, our installers, our company, our window, our product, nothing. We are doing an inspection just like a home inspector would. So it's significant to change that mindset a little bit to, we're just inspecting, we're trying to identify, we're trying to address the problem at hand, that they're having. We are not necessarily, unless some cases where the situation warrants it, we're not necessarily offering up solutions at this point. That's not what we're doing. We're here to gather information, kind of like we do with the siloing, throughout the course of the appointment. We're doing that more specifically, kind of more laser focused on the windows themselves. So that's what we're going to talk about through the course of this video here. So as you notice, I do have my consultation form up in front of me. I got my pencil in hand. We're not measuring right now, so we don't need a tape measure. All we're doing is performing an inspection to find out what they think to be the problem with the windows and what I see to be the problem with the windows through my trained professional, semi-professional eye. So that's what we're going to do. So I have my consultation form because I'm going to be writing a bunch of notes, and I have that in front of me, and I'm just coming over to the window. We got Dwayne and Deuce here. They're going to be the homeowners for us. And so the transition basically from wherever we were, doing our commitment to agenda is basically, okay, guys, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Now, can we go to one of the windows that you're having the worst problem with, or some of the worst windows? So can you take me to one of those windows now? To ones that are going to give us a fair look at some of the problems that, are making you call me out here today.
Yeah.
So come over to the window and then we'd look, we got the window, we got the shade up. Obviously you want to pull the shade up because if you can't see the window, you can't do a very good inspection, right? So that's step one. Get the window visible, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's difficult because they have crappy blinds, the blinds don't work, whatever. Okay, well, let's go to a window where I can do that. It's important that I put eyes on this and you put eyes on this so we know where we're going. Okay? So, you guys, tell me what's going on here. What kind of problems are you having with these windows?
It just feels drafty a lot of times.
Okay.
Sometimes, like if you're standing close to it, like you can kind of feel some heat.
Wow. Okay.
Coming in.
Heat and cold?
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah.
Which do you tend to notice more, just out of curiosity?
Well, being in San Antonio, heat for sure.
Okay.
Although this year, it got quite cold.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a change for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then, this room in particular gets, more hotter than the rest of the rooms.
Does it?
I don't know if that's the windows or something else.
Well, just looking at it, I'd say, what would you say? Half of this wall space is window, right?
Yeah.
Is glass.
Yeah.
So it could indicate to, if the windows are not doing a good job for you, you got half the wall that's not working.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yes.
that could be why you're experiencing it worse in this room, because the relation of glass, the proportion of glass to wall space is pretty significant.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So, okay. So this room is bad. Great. What else? What else do you know to be the problem? You said you got some heat and cold. I mean, it's significant to where you can really feel it radiating through there, like badly. Have you ever touched the glass or the frame when you feel that? What does that feel like to you?
It's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah, the frame actually.
Okay, that's not great. So if it's, I mean, I guess it just stands to reason if that's physically, you know, to the touch warm, then that tells us a couple things that heat, that cold, it's radiating right through. Like obviously this window is supposed to be a barrier from outside environment to inside environment. If you can physically touch the inside of it, frame and glass, and it's warm or hot, then we have a breach of outside environment, right?
That's
Meaning
right.
that outside heat and cold is transferring into the innermost surface of this window, which means it's not stopping there.
Yeah.
So all that you're feeling is coming right into the house.
Golly,
So-
yeah, I've never thought about it like that.
So frame and glass are warm or cold to the touch.
Yeah.
Which means they're not insulating like they should for you. Okay, what else is going on? I see you got some curtains here. You got some nice blinds. You know, you said you feel drafts. Do you ever see these on a windy day? Do you ever see these moving at all?
No, and I guess that's one of the things is that, you know, one of the ways that we've tried to, you know, combat what we're feeling is by just keeping the blinds shut and the curtains shut,
Yeah.
you know, so.
How frequently do you say have to do that?
I would say most afternoons when it's the hottest part of the day.
So really, I mean, you kind of have created a stopgap, not even knowing it, right? The fact that you can feel the heat and the cold on the glass and the frame on the innermost surface is the reason you're having to keep everything closed so that doesn't penetrate into the house, which is still happening, obviously.
Yeah.
Bye, babe. See ya. So,
Sorry.
filming, sorry.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry.
See ya.
Welcome to theater.
So how do you feel about that on most days if you're having to keep it kind of sheltered up? I mean, what does that do to the light in the house?
I mean, you know, the reason we do it is because it keeps the room cooler. But
Sure.
you know, one of the things that we loved about the house when we first bought it was all of the natural sunlight. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's just, you know, it's kind of it's a give and a take. You know, so you either have to decide, hey, do I want to see the
Do
natural
I?
sunlight, or do I want to be sweating while I'm working on my computer in here?
Wow.
You know, so.
So it really gets that hot where you're sweating if you're physically sitting
I
close to it.
I have the tendency to exaggerate, but you know, yeah,
I'll make a note of that.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
But it gets uncomfortable.
But yeah,
Okay.
like sometimes the AC can't keep up.
Oh wow.
It feels like.
Okay.
So
Okay. And is AC like running more than you think it should, like constantly, or does it seem like it never shuts off, kind of thing?
it does, but it runs more than it needs to, or than you would think that it would need to. You know, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So let me just take a few steps back. I mean, what if you could get all the energy efficiency that you experience when you shut the blinds, shut the drapes? You know, what if you could get that kind of efficiency but still get your natural light coming in the house? Would that be something that would be a step in the right direction for you?
Ideally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what do you think, Dwayne?
I mean, you know, affordability is always a factor, but yeah, that's why we have you here, is to look at something that's going to resolve both issues for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. But that would be a great improvement if we could maintain the light, but cut down on all the energy transfer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great if there was, you know, something to be done about that could achieve that.
Okay. All right. Excellent. What else? What else do you know? What else do you see going on here? What else frustrates you?
don't know. I mean, and I'm just gonna talk about what I would say about my house right now. But you know, we love the charm of the older windows, you know. But
Mhm.
it's just, you know, I know that there's some, you know, some repair that needs to be done on the outside. You know, we've considered just having the glass replaced and reglazed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but they're, you know, again, they're 90-year-old windows.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know if you can really achieve the kind of what you were just asking us about, you know, having the sunlight and not, you know, not losing the energy or having the, you know, the outside atmosphere coming into the home
Mhm.
just by doing that.
So, you know, you made an important point. What does charm mean to you? Because that means something different to me. It's your house. Every day you pull up, you enjoy the charm that these windows bring to the house. So, specifically, what is it to you that creates that element of charm? Because I'm assuming that's something you want to replicate in whatever window you choose next. Right?
Yeah, it's just that, you know, it's that old timey kind of I'm blanking on the name of the type of house that it is now.
Colonial? Or?
No, it's you know, you've got the windows and they're all either 3/3s or 4/4s. Yeah, it's wood, and it looks original to the house. You know, like it looks like.
So you like the grills, you like the grill pattern.
Yeah.
You like the wood look. What about the color?
I'd be interested in, you know, exploring other color options, you know, at
Okay.
some point.
So you mentioned the grill pattern, you like the wood look.
Yeah.
Would you
Honestly,
say that?
I don't really care about the functionality of the window. I don't care about being able to open the window. You know,
Okay.
if I was never able to open the window again, I don't think it would be an issue for me.
Okay.
It's just being able to actually, you know, have the blinds up.
Okay.
So.
Which is what we talked about a few minutes ago, as far as get, you know, the best of both worlds, and there is a reality where that exists, where you can get a tremendous improvement in your efficiency, but still not have to cut, you know, make it like the Bat Cave in here.
Yeah.
So that is a reality.
Yeah.
You know, that can be accomplished.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. We're going to talk about that. The functionality of the windows, we're not quite there yet. You know, there's some other things, some other steps we need to take before we're ready to fully design things for you,
Okay.
which we will do in our time together here today. It's a big part of what we do.
Okay.
But, you know, I just want to, again, camp out a second on the whole charm thing, because that's important. So, you know, what else can you add in the way of charm that I'm assuming, you said you're open to some color changes, which is great. I think I have a couple things in mind that I think might really be good, really good changes for you in terms of color of the window, color and design.
Mm-hmm.
But what else about the charm? Like I want to make sure we're not missing a single thing here, because that's important. You know, I mean, your windows are one of the first things you
Yeah.
see when you pull up to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure I fully understand what you're talking about when you say charm, so we can make sure that that's replicated in this design that I'm going to do for you here later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I don't know, other than kind of, you know, just, you know, as you drive through this neighborhood, most of the homes are as old as this one is. You know, they all kind of have that historic look to it.
Mhm.
You know, so I guess that's kind of what I mean.
Okay.
Thankfully, we're not on historical. That's a couple of blocks up,
Mhm.
but we're not in an historic district here, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay.
Um,
But you kind of want to keep the historic look.
Yeah, I think
Which-
so. It doesn't necessarily. I don't necessarily care that if it's wood or if it's not wood. I just want it to look similar with the. I think you said grill patterns. I guess that's what those are called.
Yes, those little squares, those are grills.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we like. You know, we like that. We like the.
Okay.
The grills and the look that those provide. It just looks like it belongs
Mhm.
on the house.
Okay, good. That helps. Yeah, and keeping with that historical, there might be a little, conflict there that we'll have to figure out, because if we go to a bunch of picture windows, which is a very modern, very trendy thing that we see time and time and time again, it does change the look of the house, because right now you have these check rails, with an equal split. You have double hungs, with a very traditional looking window, whereas a picture window is a very modern, kind of look.
Okay.
So that might be something that we have to consider, and I have all kinds of pictures I can share with you to help illustrate that for you.
Okay.
Because it will dramatically. If we go to changing picture windows, it's going to instantly modernize the look of the front of the house, which is awesome. I love it. But if you're telling me the charm, that's why I'm trying to really hone in on what charm means to you, because it's so individual.
Yeah.
So I don't want to suggest or make any recommendation that would take you away from that look. So we'll talk about that later. Like I said, we're not really here to design these right now. I'm just here to get some good information on, on what's going on, and how we can move forward from here. So what other problems are you having with the window that you know of?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we've kind of mentioned most of the stuff at this point. We were kind of hoping that you'd be able to, show, because there's just a lot of, I know that there's a lot of detail when it comes to construction and things like that we just aren't familiar with
Sure.
at this point. And so, yeah, I think everything that we've mentioned so far
Okay.
is kind of the general issues
Good.
that we've been having.
Great.
So,
Well, that's super helpful. I appreciate it very much.
mhm.
So what I'm going to do now is just kind of take a look and make some observations based on things that I'm seeing. Just right off, like you said, you talked about drafts.
Mhm.
I mean, you see all this stuff on their check rails,
Yes.
which is for real. We're going to be cleaning the house this weekend.
Yeah.
But see all this dust and, like kind of stuff that's going on up there,
Yeah.
sitting on the check rail? That's coming in from somewhere.
This is the check rail.
And this is
right
what
here?
you're referring to?
This is the check rail, correct?
This is.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're referring to this when you say dust on the check rail?
Well, this up top, on top of the check rail.
Okay,
Yeah, see that stuff?
okay,
So that's coming from somewhere,
okay.
Yeah.
which would lead me to say, okay, well, I think you're spot on that you have drafts coming in, because clearly there's stuff here.
Mm-hmm. Got it. No, you can see it.
So yeah, that's definitely a problem. Not only can you feel to the touch the heat and the cold on the glass and the innermost surface of this window, but you got dust and debris sitting up on this flat surface that's coming in from somewhere. So
Yeah.
your draft statement, I think, is pretty accurate.
Can I get out of character here for just a second and ask a
Sure.
question? So it's not possible for there just to be dust from inside the house?
It is, but it's also this is from me putting up the blinds. So
Okay, all right.
but yeah, it's there could be something that it's possible for it to be just settling in there from the house.
Okay,
But obviously, the dust is getting in the house somewhere.
sure.
So even if it's not this one specific window, windows, doors, vents, there's
Okay.
dust getting into the house somewhere.
Okay,
So, and generally the easiest place is going to be right here
through that,
because it's not sealed tightly
okay.
at the check rail. So I see that. So you got some caulking here that's kind of. It doesn't look like there's any rot, but see how the caulking is split on both sides down there.
Yeah.
Don't see anything up top. It looks pretty good. Caulking up there. Usually that's kind of a mess, but it seems pretty tight.
On
Yeah,
that
there's a
side,
little bit of crack.
Yeah,
A little bit at the top. See that?
Oh,
on both
yeah,
sides,
yeah.
on both sides a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then there's just a general, like, see the hazing in the glass?
Mhm.
So, that kind of tells me that basically, there's something compromised here, because it shouldn't be hazy like that.
What could be compromised?
Generally the seal in between the two panes of glass, when that goes, if there's any vapor, water, moisture, whatever, condensation that gets in between those panes, that's when do you have any windows like that where you can clean them all day long and it just doesn't get clean?
Yep.
It's because it's inside the glass. So that seal, which on builder grade windows, let's face it, is not very, it's not a very high quality seal. That seal has been compromised between the two panes of glass, and you've gotten condensation, water vapor, whatever. The low E coating sometimes on these builder grade windows isn't really good quality, so it can even start to deteriorate and kind of get broken down.
There's just no way to get to it.
Yeah.
So when you say builder grade windows, you're referring to windows that are normally put into a house?
Yeah, that the builder put into the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's, I see that going on, which tells me again, like, it would confirm what you said, why you feel, because that seal has been compromised in there, that's why you feel on the innermost surface that heat and cold, and feel it on the frame, especially on the glass, that there's really no, it's keeping birds and, critters out, but it's really not doing much as far as energy.
And what is the seal called?
That's called the spacer in between there.
Oh, but the seal around the edge, is that the glazing?
Yeah, so where this little piece right here is holding the frame holding the glass into the frame, that's called your glazing strip.
And that's what would have failed, you're saying? To
No,
some degree?
well, it could be a precursor to the seal failing, but the seal actually failing is that inner part,
Okay.
that spacer bar,
All right,
somewhere where that's sealed to each piece of glass that's been compromised.
okay,
Got it.
got you.
So I do see that the glass is kind of, it looks a little hazy, and, it doesn't, I'm sitting here rubbing it, and it's nothing coming off, and doesn't look like it's on the exterior side of the glass. So that tells me that there's probably some seal issues here.
Okay.
Which once again, once this seal fails on this glass, it's keeping birds and critters out, but it's really not doing much in your energy efficiency. So I kind of same thing over here. This one I don't see it so bad on, but this one, see this sealant?
Yes.
It kind of looks like it's pushing out. See that? See that? It's pretty good over here. See that?
Yeah, it's like a silicone. of
Yeah, see
some
that little bead?
Mm-hmm.
It could be poor craftsmanship. It could also be that this window's been exposed to some heat, and that sealant is saying, hey, I'm done. Which could be an indicator of why this is failing, because that silicone that's holding the glass to the spacer little thing in there is giving up. It's
Gotcha.
taking a time out.
And just on the same page as you're referring to this over here?
Yeah, this little bead of like
Gotcha.
caulk looking, well,
Okay.
it is caulk. It's silicone caulk that's basically holding the frame to the glass.
I got you.
So you see how it's bulging out like this.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you got more dust down here. So, can you open these windows? Like, do they open and or operate?
You tell me, buddy. Oh yeah, look at that.
They work. Okay. So you can move it up and down. That's a good thing. A lot of people, it doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you can see the sealant. See that bulging out really bad here?
Mm-hmm.
So these windows are kind of saying, hey, I'm done, because they've heated up to the point where this stuff is starting to bulge out and kind of mush out.
Yeah.
That's just they're, they've had better days. So
Does this indicate any sort of?
no, that channel is
Penetration at all, or-
exterior.
okay,
It is dust isn't bad. I don't know if water's getting under this seal right here. There is a little bulb seal. Feel that?
Oh yeah.
So there is a little bulb seal there that's meant to be your water barrier, but clearly dust is getting under it, right? Because this sits down into that channel that has a bunch of dust and dirt into it.
Got it.
And you can see this is where your windows, it's meant to weep the water out here, and then it goes down into a weep system below there.
To drain.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not a great sign that there's dust there, because you would think this barrier, this bulb seal, should be keeping that.
Yeah, because this
If
kind of
it's
presses
tight.
up against
Yes.
this right there, and it should be.
Yeah.
And especially if this window is shut 90% of the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever opened these.
Got it.
So yeah, you're probably getting which if there's dust, there's air, right?
Yeah.
I don't see any staining, so it doesn't, plus it's under a porch or a patio cover, so
Yeah.
I highly doubt water's coming in here. But definitely air and dust is coming up underneath that window. So yeah, that's the glass. I don't see any significant issues with the frame. I really don't. The glazing strips are all intact, which is good, because usually those things can shrivel up like a piece of bacon, because it's just a really, really cheap piece of vinyl, really thin piece of vinyl.
What are you talking
This is the
about?
glazing strip here,
Okay.
especially on the outside. We're about to go to the outside now, but this thing is in good, it's intact everywhere. It's in good
Okay.
shape, which is a good sign. The spacer, these type of spacers, this type of like kind of polycarbonate thing, when it gets compromised and gets really busted up, it shrivels up like bacon too, so it'll become almost like a bunch of whoop-de-doos in there.
You talking about
Is
this?
it starting to look
In
like
there?
that right
That
now?
gray thing.
The gray thing, okay. You can see it work.
Oh yeah, when it's compromised, you can really see it. It's a little bit down here,
I
a
see
little
it.
bit, but it goes like
Is
this.
this what you're referring to, a little bit in here, or am I just seeing?
No, there's a little bit. You can see it over
Yeah.
here more so.
Okay.
It's kind of wavy.
Do you
Yeah.
see what I'm looking at?
Mhm.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't see any signs of water, which is a good thing. The caulking again in a few places is kind of starting to fail, which is just an indicator of, you know, the builder using kind of cheap caulk.
Yeah.
But that's really what I see on the inside. So why don't we go take a look at the outside?
You've been doing this so long that when you walk up to a window like this, do you have like a checklist in your brain of what you're looking at first and second, the same every
We'll
time?
talk about that. We'll talk about that. I mean, basically,
Okay.
when you kind of break in the role play here, when
Yeah,
you get to
okay.
get to the window, the best way to start it is kind of frame, glass, and then install. Frame glass, have them open it because you got to make sure, does it open and close? Most people, I don't know, or no, I open it but I can't close it, or I open it and it's like a guillotine, it just falls straight down because this little balance system in here
It's failed.
has failed. Either the string broke or the
Yeah.
cheap balance system is just done.
I got you.
These are better actually. You know, most have like what's called a swiggle seal, or not a swiggle seal. It's just a spring balancer.
It's a rod with a.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
a little rod like that with a spring inside of it.
Mhm.
This is at least cord, so it's tension, which is why it goes up and down easily.
Mhm.
But a lot of cheaper aluminum windows or older builder grade windows, it just has that little tube with a spring in it.
Mhm.
And that's what raises and lowers it. And if that thing gets corroded, that's when it goes and the window goes
Yeah.
or it doesn't open or makes some awful sound when you're opening it.
Sure.
But this is at least a block and tackle, because it has this cord here. So, but that,
Okay.
that will tell you, all the systems, the hardware. Do I have locks? Can I lock the window?
Sure.
Open and close it, lock it, unlock it. Does that all function? Are your balances intact? If you see one rod way up here and the other rod way over there, something's wrong. So you're just looking for any kind of incongruencies, anything that's not symmetrical, windows that doesn't close straight or it's like this and you can't get the sash down. That happens all the time. So yeah, you're looking for anything, but that's the process is frame, glass, mechanism, and hardware.
So basically, inside out in a way, or not frame glass, But anyway, I don't want to make this complicated. Or take
Yeah,
too
I mean,
long.
it's either way. You can go glass frame install or frame glass install. All the
Because
and then the hardware and the
I
balance.
guess what was being new for me, having a checklist in the beginning,
Yeah.
is going to be important because that
Well,
way I get to have it.
It's also the same way you demo the window.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I remember that's what you said. You said that first day. You said it was you do frame, glass, install, hardware.
Yep.
And install essentially is just you're looking at caulking, you're looking at
Yes.
sealing, you're looking at trim here.
do you
Or
see
this is-
pooling? Do you see pooling on the sills?
Yeah.
Water coming in, and a lot of times you will.
Yeah.
Even if it's just condensation, if it's real bad and the sills are really jacked up, then you probably have an infiltration issue. But if it's just spotting that kind of wipes off with some water, then you know that it's probably just condensation dripping off the glass.
And this is called block and tackle.
Yeah.
Balance system. Okay. Nice.
It's not as good as ours, obviously, but it's a lot better than these windows are pretty good. I've tested them and everything. The fact that it has a block and tackle system is better than that stupid little
Yeah, the rod.
pole thing.
And this is what you would identify as a builder's quality.
Yeah, this was it.
That
It
was
came with the
put in.
house.
Okay.
The house is 10 years old or 9 years old or something.
Okay.
So now that we did the interior inspection, I got a full page of basically notes on my consultation form. Now we're gonna go out and take a look at the outside.
Okay.